All right, good evening. It is Tuesday, June 3rd. It's been a nice stretch of dry weather here for Alabama, but the isolated thunderstorms return later on this week. Highs, depending on where you're at in the state, 85 to 92. Our warmest temperatures will be down in the southern half of Alabama. An unsettled weekend for many, and some strong storms possible, especially for northern Alabama. A pretty quiet afternoon here in the southeast, but you could say otherwise for the middle of the country. In fact, let's hop to a couple composite radar loops here. This is at about 6:20. Some severe thunderstorm warnings now crossing over in extreme western Illinois into the Peoria market. Springfield will be next up there. Most of this is congealed into a line and is no longer producing the tornadoes we saw earlier. Kansas City hit by one of those. More thunderstorms south as you go through Kansas, and the next batch of really active weather's down in Oklahoma City. Some confirmed tornadoes there. You can see by the pink polygons about an hour ago, and we have a couple other strong thunderstorms that stretch back into west central Texas. So we'll be thankful for a view like this. Visible satellite. You can see those cloud streets there, just a few cumulus clouds across the state. That's always a good sign of stability and a quiet weather pattern. Temperatures today very seasonal. We hit the middle and upper 80s in several spots. Southern Alabama still in the upper 80s, Dothan at 87. Mobile is at 84 as we approach the 7 o'clock hour. Lows tonight. Just about everywhere in the state will be in the upper 60s with a few 70s as well the further south you go. And our high temperatures on Wednesday will be, again, a lot like today, very much determinant on the timing and the coverage of rain. So we're going to get to that. I want to get first to the severe outlook. This is day 5, Saturday, and you'll notice a big old stripe, basically from, the Texas Panhandle all the way to central Alabama. That's a pretty big area, so we're going to focus, of course, on the Alabama aspect of that. This is a look at Saturday's severe threat. Again, from Demopolis over to Sylacauga, Gadsden up to Huntsville, Florence down to Hamilton, all included in that slight risk for gusty winds. So we'll get to that. But first, let's talk about our short-term forecast. Let's go to Wednesday morning. This is a look at high-resolution modeling. And what this is going to show us is kind of what you'd expect in the summertime, all right? This is at 2 o'clock tomorrow. What can we take away from this? Well, we're going to see isolated thunderstorms. This is very typical of summertime in Alabama. Southeasterly wind. We got a broad low down over the Florida Peninsula, and that's going to help to swing in some moisture, daytime heating, and we will have isolated thunderstorms all across the state. Will everybody get the rain? No. These are fairly small in size, and if you're new to Alabama, you can expect a lot of this through the summertime. Coverage will probably peak mid to late afternoon, 3, 4, 5 o'clock. And then things in general fizzle as we get into the evening. By about 10 o'clock, most of the rain gone. We could still have a few showers down in southeastern Alabama, at least according to this model. All right, that's Wednesday night, partly cloudy. Let's go into Thursday. This is at about 12 o'clock. And I think Thursday, because our winds pivot just a little bit, we'll see the majority of the convection in southern Alabama. So you'll see here, at about 4 o'clock, we've got the majority of the convection, US 80 and points south, so Meridian, Montgomery, Columbus, south to the Wiregrass, isolated to scattered showers, and really, again, possible in much of the state, but I think the better rain chances on Thursday favor the southern half of Alabama, and much of northern Alabama, the northern half of the state, will likely be dry. So there's your short term. Let's go now long term. Remember, that severe outlook, that threat, does not begin until the weekend. So I've already looked at Thursday. Let's go to Friday morning here. This is at about 6 o'clock. And we'll start our Friday. That's the other thing about, you'll look at these percentages, on a forecast or an app, and the percentages might say, 60% of rain or 60% chance of rain. That might tell you, we're going to have more rain than sun today, but a lot of our Friday forecast will be dry, the first half of the day at least. I think beginning early afternoon, 1, 2, 3 o'clock, we'll start to see scattered convection. And this is a global model because we're going out several days now, so you don't have that higher resolution look. But this particular model indicating that by the evening, we could see perhaps a line of storms that initiates here and kind of cascades off to the south. Sometimes you'll get a good batch of thunderstorms, they'll gain momentum, and they'll do just that. And that's kind of what this model is suggesting, all right? So that would be Friday evening. Again, an evening threat, and we'll watch that carefully as it could change. Saturday, we might have a window up until 12, 1 o'clock, perhaps up until 3, let's be fair. The more organized, scattered, strong thunderstorms are going to be closer to 4 in the afternoon onward. All right, so we back this up a little bit. This is a look at 3-hour precipitation. And so you can kind of take away from this where you start to see those yellows. We get 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock and beyond, and that's when our coverage will likely peak. A lot of thunderstorm activity with this. Some gusty winds are possible. We basically have a frontal boundary in place, and that extra boundary is going to help lift and give a little extra oomph to these storms. Will they all be severe? No. Will be a lot of lightning with these? Yes, but lightning's not a severe parameter, so that'll just be a byproduct. If you have outdoor events Saturday, the second half of the day is going to be problematic for some. Then we go into Sunday. Now, in this particular solution, this is about 8 o'clock Sunday morning. We've got widespread rain across the Mississippi Delta into central Alabama. If we have this solution, morning rain, this will mean no severe threat because our rain starting in the morning. It will be a stable atmosphere from the night before's rain, and this would more or less be soaking rain and thunderstorms, and they may rain themselves out. You start the rain early in the day, especially at daybreak, and it's tough to keep those storms going, that rain going all day, but suffice it to say the weekend certainly looking a little bit wetter. So with that in mind, let's switch now over to our temperatures. This is Thursday at 3 o'clock, and again, you're going to notice there's variability. Birmingham's at 83, Huntsville at 82, Gadsden 79, Mobile 90. Some of this is also taken into consideration that we could have rain in the area. And this is just one model, so let me switch on over to another. We will go, let's see here. So that was the European, and I'm just curious what we will see here with the GFS. Okay, so GFS has us much warmer, 87 at 3 o'clock on Thursday. Let's go to early Friday morning. You got temperatures right around 70 just about everywhere. Not uncommon. And then let's go Friday afternoon. That's showing 94 in Tuscaloosa. The GFS runs warm. It's one of the model biases that it has. And that's why you have to watch these models often. GFS tends to be a little bit over-aggressive with the afternoon highs, and the European model tends to be a little bit under. So now we switch back to the European model just to give you an idea. And same exact time, it has 80 in Birmingham and 86 in Tuscaloosa. So you get the idea. We'll keep the warm solution up there just for the heck of it to show you kind of what the ceiling would be for temperatures. It's Friday afternoon. And then, of course, the rain, should it come in, would have an impact on those evening temps. And then Saturday, at about 3 o'clock, again, showing 90s. If we get 90s, that's a lot of energy in play for these thunderstorms. And so hopefully that doesn't come to fruition. I tend to think that that's way too aggressive. I would certainly lean towards the mid-80s for high temperatures on Saturday afternoon. And then we go into Sunday, and Sunday's going to be the coolest day easily, with some spots in northern Alabama maybe staying in the 70s with rain-cooled air, otherwise low to middle 80s for much of northern Alabama, and that rain eventually getting to the wiregrass later in the day. So, what about the rain totals over this stretch? Very hard to pinpoint this time of year. WPC does a good job of looking at trends, and coverage is going to be anywhere from 2 to 2.5 inches. That seems very reasonable. Some areas will probably get 2.5, and others might not have any at all. That is how it goes with these summertime thunderstorms, and that is indeed what we will watch, and indeed what we will have here over the next 7 days. The tropical season, or hurricane season rather, began on June 1st. We have our first little outlook or area to watch, and this is a very low threat. So what you're seeing here is a broad low. Remember that front that came through last weekend? That kind of stalled out, and when fronts stall out like that, they sometimes sit over warm water. They'll re-intensify. This one is what we call a subtropical low, or a non-tropical low. It's not resembling tropical characteristics. There's certain things we look at, and it's missing that, but it's a feature nonetheless. So the NHC is watching it. This would have no bearing on the Gulf Coast. That goes for Florida. That goes for Alabama. In general, what we're looking at here is this to be a big rainmaker for the Florida Peninsula, and then eventually this will slide up the Mid-Atlantic and potentially, bring some rain about to the Mid-Atlantic and New England. But a lot of people have asked about this. Got beach plans. What is this going to do? should not do anything from that respect. So again, the NHC outlook here, watching that area, about a 10% chance of development. Again, do not expect this to develop in any way. So then we go to our beach forecast here over the next several days. You've been to the beach, you know how this works. It's its own little climate. So though you see those thunderstorm icons, it may very well not rain at your particular beach on that given day, but rain at others. And sometimes that sea breeze front will lead to rain being just on shore. So if you're headed to the beach, again, it looks a little bit more unsettled, especially early next week, but just be sure to get out there, have your radar app, and of course watch it at all times, and of course these as well. Keep an eye on those flags if you're headed down there. Higher rip current risk expected the next couple of days, so we'll keep you posted on all of this here as we move forward. So that'll do it for the forecast discussion here on this Tuesday evening. Hope all of y'all are having a great day. We'll have another update on Wednesday as rain chances creep back into the forecast. Have a great evening.